Okay, welcome everybody out. And leftovers from last week, we discussed mulberry tree being maybe the best homestead tree. Anybody have any comments about that? I have a little follow-up photos after that, but some things that happened around here. But other than
Mine
that,
still isn't ready, but it's not wasn't in a prime planting location and pretty damaged. So
yeah, I found another one, another wild one down by the creek the other day, and it was all green also. So
okay,
it may be on the
interesting.
same schedule as yours.
Yeah. So the one I planted, the cultivar that I planted last year, I mean I didn't expect anything, but no berries on it this year. When do they typically start
Um,
producing, you know?
I, I would say when they get, like head high. Um,
Okay.
that-
Got a ways to go. My pawpaws, I thought I might get one or two this year, but nothing there. At least the peaches are coming through.
yeah, the mulberries tend to be more precocious than pawpaws. They take a little longer, and they grow like weeds usually. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's three,
Pomegranate absolutely amazingly covered with um, flowers, and it looks like the fruit is already developing.
that's
Awesome.
kind of marginal here. You need to choose your place wisely, but place of planting, because they just well, at least the way winters used to be here anyway. But as we
Yeah.
go to global warming, maybe it'll be just right for them. But
Well, edible weeds are a plus.
that's right. So anyway, I didn't change my title up here that the markets were generally mixed today. They were generally up today, except for commodities and Bitcoin and stuff. Gold was flat today at 23.16, and I had another. I keep cost averaging down on this stuff that I feel is a good value right now, like gold and silver. And so I keep putting in limit orders lower and lower, and got a couple of those filled today. And then Goldbacks was down like 3 cents compared to last week. So I think there's a good opportunity. Silver was flat today at 29.27, and the gold silver ratio was the same as last week also. And I did get an order filled on physical silver, PSLV, at $9.80. So that's a good one. Had two fills, one at $9.99 and one at $9.80. So see what goes. Tilt and zeros were both up about $1 today. So people think the Fed's going to come through and save us. I don't know whether that's happened or not. Wheat was up a dime today at 5.88, which is below the $6 level, which I said last week I didn't think we'd ever see again. So wrong again, but it's hitting some resistance now, and it's looks like it's gonna either go to 550 or to 650, and I couldn't tell you which, but I think it's mighty cheap. DBA, which is agricultural commodities, was up a little bit today at 25.27. It's actually been holding up pretty good considering how bad wheat's not been holding up. And then the other commodity fund that's more energy and precious metals related was down a few cents today at 23.06, but that's still just a few cents less than what it was last week. So they're holding up pretty good. The industrial military complex was kind of surprising with the market in general up, especially at the end of the day. Every stock that I follow there was down today. And so does that mean world peace has broken out and nobody told me? And natural gas was up considerably today, almost $2 at 21.53. And the futures market was at 312. And all of the substitutes for natural gas that I use were all up. So cost of production is 230. So good times in the gas fields right now. It's really noted for whipsawing people though, so I'd be careful if you're in there. Oil was up over $75 today again, which that's kind of contradictory with the industrial military complex. Does that mean inflation's coming back or what? Don't know, but it was quite a retrace today. Bitcoin was down to around 67,000 today. And bits was down, of course, and BITI was up. So it might be a place to think about doing some dollar cost averaging. And I talked about last week that the state of Wisconsin's pension plan is invested in 2 Bitcoin ETFs. And thought is that will happen in all 50 states eventually, which could put quite a bit of demand on Bitcoin. And the same thing may happen to Ethereum because it's fixing to be ETFs approved for Ethereum. But since they did that, which got my interest in Ethereum, it's been going down. It was below 3,500 today. I think there's some opportunities there. I'm not sure whether that's going to be at 3,100 or 3,300 or somewhere in that range, but I think there'll be some opportunities there. Meeting of BRICS Partnership Advisory Group had that and announced that yes, they're going forward with a commodity-backed currency, which will probably be gold-backed. But they're hedging their bets. They're getting in bed with the Bank of International Settlements also. So I don't know, kind of strange. Aside from a war in the Middle East and the war in Ukraine, which seems to be heating up right now, we have a war on fossil fuels, a war on the middle class, war on cash. Use it while you can. Maybe we'll be able to use it longer that way. Fed now is now. We've got a war on food in several countries, including USA, I believe. War on gardens in various states. A war on meat. And then I keep bringing up that, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but the war on cancer, that one's one that's not doing very well. More record numbers of people are getting cancer at younger and younger ages. So seasonal information. It's getting a little late, but you can still plant some trees and think about propagation of various things. Comfrey is one thing I'm doing right now, but it's about time to propagate blueberries and a lot of softwood cuttings this time of year. Just need to bring them into a cool, shady location to get the roots started. And it's already time to think about a fall garden. And might be a good time to order those fall seeds and order next year's seeds, so you'll have them just in case. Everybody ought to have some potassium iodine at this point. So at this point, any progress anybody would like to talk about, or any ideas? find any good bargains or?
Well, I guess I have learned the germination rate of my long-term storage seeds was not nearly as high as I thought it would be. So maybe something to think about. I need to rotate them out a little bit faster, I guess.
We'll have to
I think I got a 10% germination rate on my corn.
sticking that earbud back in.
Or is it germination that I'm thinking of? Anyway, about 10% of them sprouted. Can you hear us, Winston?
I'm trying. Let's see here. Well, I'm not muted. I'm supposed to be coming through
We can hear you.
now. Mike, could you repeat what you just said and I'll see if I can hear it again?
Yeah, can you hear me? Nothing?
No. Mhm.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So I just said that I learned a lesson this year on, I had a sort of a long-term storage pack of seeds, sort of like the break the glass, and I decided to use them this year and buy replacements. And at least on my corn, I only got about a 10% germination rate.
Hmm.
So I got to be more careful about how long I hold on to those seeds and how often I rotate them out.
Where were they stored?
Well, that's a little bit. They were stored in a room in the house that once or twice the AC had broken up in that room and had gotten up to 90 degrees once or twice. So I do think that that was a factor.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be worth it just to do a seed vault in the ground, bury it, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
6 foot in the ground, and
That's a really good idea, actually.
it would be a
This
good.
one we had bought 3 houses ago. So it had been through a few moves.
Yeah, I got a couple of those cans that number 10 cans are full of seeds like that.
Yeah.
Probably not the varieties and things I would want in reality, but it would beat nothing.
Yeah, might be welcome when they're needed.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on saving all my own seeds and developing varieties and a variety list that we'll eat and enjoy. So, um, think of some of the things that going on around here. Little update on the mulberry situation. There's our large mulberry tree that we planted. It's a Illinois everbearing, and we had quite a bit of storm damage. And as maybe you can see here, we had to prop up the limbs that were left because these upper limbs had fallen down on them, and so it was a real mess. Another mulberry idea is we talked about last week was feeding livestock with mulberries, and this is the tree here on the left anyway. That's a cedar tree covered up by a mulberry tree there, but the turkeys have finally discovered this tree, and the ground's just black with these little bitty mulberries, and they are just gorging themselves on them. So I throw out stale bread from Mesa, and they just kind of look at it. They're full. Good thing to keep in mind. And speaking of turkeys, the hen got off of her nest today and was over there gorging herself with mulberries. Only took her about 5-10 minutes to fill up and come back, but 14 eggs in there. We have high hopes. Before we have had very good luck with them raising their own this year.
Looks pretty good.
Okay, I'm blanked out on you again. Okay. Now I got sound. Oh. So anyway, and then one other thing I wanted to show you to do with gardening. Anybody know what that is? Somebody may be telling me and I can't hear it.
No, don't know.
That's tomato cuttings, where you I let them get a little big before I cut them out, how you cut out the crotches. Well, anyway, just take those and put them in a glass with nothing more than water, and you can see they're rooting quite nicely down here, most of them, and some of them above the water line. And so there you can have your fall tomato crop, without buying any more plants or starting any more seeds. It's for vegetative propagation. So if you take this, I'll give it another couple of days to put on a few more roots, and then you just put it in the garden and water it, and cover it up with a white plastic 5-gallon bucket for a few days so it stays in the shade. And it should take off. And we'll have tomatoes in like August and September from them, when your spring plants have mostly gone away or quit producing. And here we have our weed of the day, or medicinal herb. Anybody know what that is?
Lamb's ear?
Yeah, or mullein.
I don't remember what it's good for though.
But Liz could probably tell us that.
I think it's good for the asthma and stuff. But if you go look into mullein leaf, there's all sorts of different things that you can utilize it for in an emergency.
Yeah, like toilet paper.
That's what I was thinking. There's a fig leaf cover up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice soft leaf for whatever you want to do with it, but you can make a tea out of it or a tincture, and it's supposed to be good for all things lung, and for people with weak lungs or whatever. So, pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma, all that stuff. And we're harvesting a few things from the garden already. These are potatoes, believe it or not.
Really, already?
Uh-huh. We got an early start on planting them. We planted them last August.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So they came up quite early.
Now, I believe the cuttings that I got, or what I got from you, is the same variety. Is that right?
No, that was sweet potatoes. These are Irish potatoes.
Oh, they are?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
The most nutritious variety out there, as far as I know. It's like Purple Majesty.
Okay.
A lot of anthocyanins in them.
Yeah.
That is. And the other thing we've been harvesting a lot of lately is a lot of blackberries. Doing real good this year. And this will be the early crop. We'll get others in from this year's canes. This is a prima cane variety, so they produce berries on this year's canes and last year's canes. So if you want to just have one crop and make it easy on your pruning, you just cut them down to the ground in the wintertime, and then you'll have one crop starting about August.
We've been harvesting raspberries and some black raspberries.
Leave some, so I'll have a longer bearing period. And the other thing that was going on today that I noticed was solitary bee there in the middle, but this is a chestnut blossom, and they're pretty much starting to dry up, and these solitary bees are still working, but the honeybees are not working them anymore, and we're not smelling them like we were, because we're kind of in the midst of a chestnut forest here of our own making, and it's almost sickening sweet in the air when they're full bloom. And we actually get some chestnut honey, and you can tell that what you smell, you can taste in the honey. It's kind of interesting. So I think that's all I've got. The seasonal stuff. Let's do a new share and play a video. About turkey tails, which relates to cancer and a lot of other things.
Are superhero mushrooms. These are the most studied mushrooms on Earth, and through mechanisms which I'll explain later, they can help get rid of viruses and help cure cancer. If you've ever gone for a hike in the woods, no doubt you've come across it, even if you didn't know how to identify it. Turkey tail. It's one of the most common mushrooms all over the world. It's a mushroom that has been used in antiquity on every populated continent. The Chinese and Japanese doctors use it all the time, and yet not every oncologist in the Western world even knows about the healing powers of this incredible mushroom.
You actually look at the science, or you don't.
And that is why I'm making this video. This is turkey tail.
The turkey tail mushroom, a colorful delight.
Today we're doing a deep dive on the turkey tail mushroom. I'm going to fill you in on a few of the hundreds of studies that have been done on this mushroom, showing how beneficial it is. I'm going to show you how to see it in the woods, how to identify it, not mistake it for other mushrooms, not a turkey tail, how to then use it. And then of course, make sure you have in the back of your head a couple of things you have to be careful about when using turkey tail mushroom.
For quick background, as a biologist, my goal is to understand the world better.
Huge! This is awesome!
that. And I am blown away that much of the English-speaking world doesn't use mushrooms every day. Because of that, I've been on a bit of a quest to bring awareness to the underground world of mushrooms. As a society, we've probably become skeptical of mushrooms because, well, some can kill you.
Is a destroying angel.
And the powers that be may have also encouraged its erasure from history, because some can give you incredible personal insights.
According to studies, is as effective as the leading antidepressant medication.
And even if we lost our ancestral knowledge and use of mushrooms, which we did have, we should be willing to use science to understand how to use these mushrooms now and into the future. That's why I found the world's leading expert on medicinal mushrooms, Robert Rogers. He wrote the definitive books reviewing the current science on these mushrooms. So I asked him to tell me about his favorite study on turkey tail mushrooms.
They took several hundred patients who had colorectal cancer. They did surgery, they cut out the cancerous part, resected up the intestine, and then sent them home. And half the group, they gave turkey tail extract, very small, 1 gram twice a day. The other group, they gave a placebo. And then they followed them for the rest of their lives. And the group that received the control placebo lived an average of 4.6 years after the surgery, which is right under that 5-year survival rate that is always bragged about by cancer centers. The other group, who actually received the turkey tail, lived an average of 10.6 years, fully 6 years more. We should know that. I think people who are undergoing cancer therapy should know that kind of information. Oncology centers should know it. Oncologists should know it, because they will often say, don't take any supplement while you're taking a chemotherapy or a radiation session, and that is absolutely unscientifically true. You can't say that you're practicing evidence-based medicine and then ignore it. Right? It's one or the other. You actually look at the science or you don't.
What is even more shocking to me is that this is just one of hundreds of human clinical trials that he has summarized and written about in his book here, many of them double-blind placebo studies. Another one he summarizes here in the book is a study on HPV. They were treated for their cervical cancer. They were divided into 2 groups. One just had normal treatment, the other one had the normal treatment plus an extract of turkey tail mushrooms. After 1 year, the one that didn't have mushrooms, 47% had normal pap smears. That meant 53% still had cancer. But the ones that were given mushrooms, 72% had normal pap smears after the course of that year. That to me is fantastic. Diving into this book, and I look at every different study that he highlights in here, it's generally a different form of looking at cancer treatment with or without turkey tail extract added. And then the one with turkey tail extract always has a slightly better outcome. But it still blows me away that many of my American friends who are dealing with cancer at the moment have never had a doctor who presented anything about turkey tail extract, nor if they go in and talk to them about turkey tail extract, do they have any idea what that even is. So I asked Robert Rogers why more oncologists aren't presenting this as an option in cancer treatment.
Education. The way they're educated in medical school.
I feel like we're at the time where it's changing.
It is changing. Some of the younger physicians that I talk to and do courses for and with, they're way more open, and they're understanding a lot that there is a place for very strong pharmaceuticals, but there's also a place for helping people learn how to take care and eat better. And they look at what they surround their lifestyle with so that they actually don't have to rely on end-of-life kind of medications. They can actually promote their own well-being through the use of good foods, adding mushrooms into your diet.
Now, maybe you're curious about mixing turkey tail into your diet. If that's you, you should probably first beef up on your taxonomy. What are you looking at when you see a turkey tail mushroom? Well, it can look like this, or it can look like this. Color is slightly variable. They can start out small, like the ones I have on the log here, or they can get quite large in cultivated forms. And not everyone calls it turkey tail. In Holland, it's called this.
Elfenbankje, which means a fairy bench.
Or in Germany, this.
Schmetterlingstramete, which translates to butterfly tramete.
More generally, it's a type of shelf fungus, a polypore. That means if you flip it over, you're going to see microscopic pores. That's very different than the guild mushrooms you might have seen in more classic-looking mushrooms. It does have a few lookalikes, that is, mushrooms that grow on logs with this general flattened shape. If you see one, You got to go up to it, flip it over. If there are teeth on the bottom, like this, or if there's any gills, or if the bottom isn't fully white with pores, then you're looking at a different mushroom. I'm leaving links to good identification videos below. But if you've gotten this far, then you're in luck, because there really are no toxic lookalikes that you have to be worried about. It's also nice to know that it grows all over the world and has been used by indigenous communities for thousands of years. For example, in Australia, the Aborigines sucked on the polar pore to treat sores in their mouths. In Mexico, it was applied topically to treat ringworm. And in China and Japan, it's used for cancer treatments. So that really begs the question, what exactly is in this mushroom that allows it to take the title for the most studied mushroom in the world? Especially when other more famous mushrooms, like the Amanita muscaria here, have almost no studies on it. I've decided it's basically 5 things. First, they have incredibly high amounts of beta-glucans. Those are polysaccharides found in the cell walls of mushrooms that they stimulate the immune system. They're very good for our health. And in turkey tail mushrooms, we're talking upwards of 60%. Secondly, they have a lot of antioxidants. Third, they're really good for gut health, supporting a healthy gut microbiome. Essentially, they are full of prebiotics. And 4, EPSP, which is a compound found in this mushroom, when taken, helps to regulate the body's insulin levels. And 5, it contains PSP and PSK. Those are protein-bound polysaccharides that the Japanese and Chinese researchers found, and they rank high for the best thing found in this mushroom. Now, PSK is fascinating, and it is the key to understanding why all of this is studied. So, as a background, this compound comes from a 10-day fermentation of the mycelium, not actually the fruiting body. A lot of people mix that up. So you get a bag which is full of the growing mycelium of this mushroom, and they found a way to patent this process. In doing so, they pulled out this protein-bound polysaccharide, PSK, and then they knew they had something on their hands because they could make money from it. They put in over $1 billion, it's estimated, to studying this compound, PSK, in addition to PSP, which is the Chinese version of it. And since they were trying to figure out how to use it for people, they had to do a ton of studies. That's why all of the research was done on this. And this also brings up a huge problem that we all face when we look at natural medicines. So if you have a drug that can be patented, you have to run it through a ton of testing. If it's a natural medicine, 1, you don't have to run all the tests, but 2, nobody is going to invest in the research needed to see, is it beneficial, or is it just an old wives' tale that this thing heals you? Is it a placebo, right? So everything from chamomile to Amanita muscaria, which I've done videos on, there's almost no studies on it because you can't make a lot of money on it. Of course, the wild form is also extremely beneficial. Paul Stamets famously used it with his mother, who had stage 4 breast cancer.
The doctor gave her less than 3 months to live.
Added turkey tail extract to her cancer treatment.
And then she started taking 8 turkey tail capsules a day.
And then 9 years later, he brought her up on stage in his famous TED Talk.
My mother has no detectable tumors. And I'd like to thank my mother.
Obviously, that's an anecdote, but we're also looking at tons of studies which are pointing to the exact same thing. It's extremely beneficial.
Turkey tail is the name, and it's got the power to heal your body every minute, every hour.
If you want to start mixing this mushroom into your diet for free, here are the steps to follow. First, go outside and find it. Then, while you could chew on the mushroom during a hike, it's not very palatable. You're not going to eat it. Instead, you have to do a hot water extraction. That means you cut it up, drop it into a tea, and then add water that's about 80 degrees Celsius. That means it's not quite boiling. Boiling water for too long will denature the compounds within it. So let that simmer, sit for 8 to 10 minutes, then you just drink it. Since beta-glucans and other polysaccharides are water-soluble, I think this is the best way to extract the compounds.
It's a cancer fighter, a true superhero, boosting your immune system like a pro. From the forest it comes with its vibrant hues, a rainbow of health, that's the turkey tail news.
At this stage, if you're using turkey tail mushroom, you have to be careful of, or at least aware of, a few things. But before I get to that, today's sponsor,
Tremetta mushroom coffee. I am so lucky to have a brand that cares about encouraging people to mix mushrooms into their daily life, and that's exactly what this is. I can take a bag like this and bring it with me when I'm traveling on the road. And so I'll say, I'm gone 7 days, I grab 7 of these, it's light, it's easy. That process I just showed you is difficult. I'm not gonna be who sources their mushrooms well and makes a product like this that you can trust. This one here has 3 mushrooms. You got lion's mane for boosting your brain power, you've got cordyceps for energy and performance, and you have reishi for general stress levels and immune boosting ability. All of these are mushrooms that should be probably mixed into your diet. They're gonna help you out. And as an added bonus, I actually love the way these taste. So if you wanna try it out, I would encourage you to go to tremetta.com/stoneageman. It's 40% off and they'll give you a free gift. Now back to Turkey Tail.
I specifically asked about contraindications to Robert Rogers. Is it dangerous in any way?
And taken over a period of time, the melanin pigmentation will increase and turn your fingernails a dark brown, which is not really harmful and goes away once you stop taking them, but for people who don't know, that's a big issue.
I'm now convinced everyone should know about the turkey tail mushroom. I'm also hoping that after watching this, you now have a better understanding of generally how it affects your health, how it affects people's cancer treatments. I'm also hoping that you can go out into the woods and identify it on your own. Wouldn't that be a great day if everyone could go out and identify a turkey tail? And if you're adventurous, I would encourage you to go find it and make a tea out of it. If you do try that, let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. Did you like the taste? Did you not like the taste? And if you're interested in more videos about medicinal mushrooms, I've made a whole bunch of them. One of them is right here. All of these are going into one of my future courses, which is on mywild.online. My patrons get free access to all of my courses just as a way to help me make more of them because it's going to be slow to start.
Dad, you're sweating. What? You're sweating.
Mushroom magic healers.
Okay. Also, while we're here, I just wanted to show you that our buddy Kayla from the Honeystead, she has a video about turkey tails in this area, and there's tons of further videos about turkey tails and every other mushroom in the world out here. So something to be aware of. Okay, why can't I stop sharing? Can't figure out why that share won't go away. Oh, there it is. Okay. So anyway, just curious about any comments about this. I was kind of surprised that, I mean, everybody, all of us have cancer in our bodies, and all of us will, if we live long enough, we'll get cancer, quote unquote. And so I think it's good to have alternatives, since our medical system is not interested in anything that won't bring in $250,000 before you die. It's been my experience. Not interested in researching it, not interested in you using it, not interested in prescribing it. Sad state of affairs, but
share with them what your coworkers cost of a pill a day is going to be.
Yeah, I have a coworker who has a skin cancer on the bridge of his nose, and the I probably can't say it, but the drug is like Vismodegolin or something like that. It's definitely Vismod is the first part of it, and those pills are $14,000 per month prescription for a 28 pill regimen. And they were saying that you should stay on them for at least 10 months. And insurance will cover them for 2 months. But anyway, just crazy, I think, and he's totally different than I am, but I guess because he spent time in the Army following orders. But the oncologist said, I think we should take this one, this medicine. What do you think? And he said, well, you're the doctor, you tell me. And of course, for some reason, she picked the most expensive one, but just thought that was kind of ridiculous. I mean, this is not for necessarily a life-threatening cancer. Even it's not melanoma, but it's basal squamous cells that have run amok. So anyway, that's just seems to be the way oncology is today. That and there's hundreds of treatments for every type of cancer if you go back to pre 1920, and all over the world for thousands of years. But none of those are looked at because of the reasons that he brought up in the video. Is it costs too much to get them approved. But the interesting thing I found that I'm going through a mistletoe regimen right now is a naturopath can prescribe a lot of things, as long as it's a natural substance. But an oncologist, MD, cannot. And so anyway, that's kind of an out as far as getting into some alternative treatments. So, but with turkey tail, you can prescribe it yourself and source it yourself and everything else. And it costs nothing in my area. There's a lot of it on a lot of dead logs around here. So anyway, any other comments? So I think we'll close for the night. Thank everybody for coming out, and we'll do it again next week.
Okay, thank you.